There we go. Scheduling live streams took a couple more button clicks than I was used to. But now I think everything is working as intended. So today we are going to start working on the arms for our Pagan Rus. I just need to find my invoice. Be right back. So I've tried to sort out the close-up camera also. So please tell me if it works properly or not. I might have to adjust it a bit in the vertical direction, but yeah. Or maybe do a more permanent setup for the close-up camera. So the goal for today is to do basically all the left arms for this. Let's see how many we need to do. I should maybe make a mold, but yeah, no. So traditionally in Sweden, I think from 1980 something, 1 or 84, we have had a gaming convention here in my town called LinCon. And but it has been cancelled this year for obvious reasons. So I thought I would do a stream and talk about my adventures on that gaming convention. I have been at that convention, let's see, since 92, basically. Yeah, every year since 92, except 1 year when it was cancelled due to not finding any place to hold it. And last year and this year when it has been cancelled. So I started off going to these conventions. Need to get a better doing mainly role-playing games actually. The start of my gaming was mainly role-playing and a tiny bit of miniature wargaming. And this is back in the 40k Rogue Trader era. And we role-played Dungeons and Dragons. The Swedish version of Dungeons and Dragons called Drakar och Demoner. So that was my introduction into gaming conventions, and then it just moved on from there. From what I have understood, the UK conventions, or whatever they call them, are more like trade shows than anything else. And this is the ones we have in Sweden are not trade shows. They are mainly just gaming related. So so I started off playing role-playing games for many years, and then I got into collectible card games. And the collectible card games I did was Magic the Gathering, of course, and this was basically in 94 or 5. 96 maybe. So I did the collectible card game thing for a couple of years, and then I sunk all my time and energy into miniature wargaming instead, and mainly for 40k. As I said, I started playing in the Rogue Trader era, so quite a long time ago. I still have some Rogue Trader era miniatures for one of my 40k armies. Let's see if I can find one. I can show you. So this one is from that period. I hope that comes across okay. And so it's a, I think that must be before the plastic boxed set of Space Marines. And so it's not me that has painted that, by the way. I bought a army from a friend of mine a couple of years ago, which had lots of cool old minis in it. I bought it more for the nostalgia than to play with. I think I've only played with it once, or maybe twice, but it has lots and lots of cool minis in it. Old ones. Because I do prefer the older style Games Workshop than the newer style. But anyways, yeah, so then I started playing in the 40k tournaments. And did that for a couple of years. And then I took my 1 year break from miniature wargaming to play World of Warcraft for a year, and this was, for those that know the history of World of Warcraft, it was Burning Crusade. So I played basically a bit before Burning Crusade and then the whole Burning Crusade, and when whatever expansion got released after Burning Crusade, I just quit. So I only played for basically a year. And sometime after that, we started doing our own 40k tournament. So me and two friends from the local gaming community started doing tournaments, and they were quite big. There was like maybe 100-ish people competing. So I did that for a couple of years, and then after that I stopped because we had done that for so many years. Or at least I got bit bored. Can't speak for the other guys. And then I basically just started showing up on the gaming convention as a just normal visitor. And just to talk a bit about the convention itself, it's roughly 1,500 people yearly, 2,000 maybe, and it's held at the local university. So we have a large building that is just with classrooms that is rented for the purpose of the gaming convention. I'm just trying to do a something to sculpt the arm on, an armature. And when I've done that properly, I can do just 12 more exact copies of it. So just so you know what I'm doing. Yeah, so it's like roughly 1,500 people, and it's basically a 4-day event. So it starts on Wednesday evening and ends at you'd say like midday Sunday, but most people start heading home on Sunday morning. Excuse me. So it's quite a big gaming convention by Swedish standards. I guess it's like the second largest, maybe. There is one that is very large that is held in Gothenburg every Easter, that I've also gone to many times. So now that we've done a pattern for how we're going to bend the armature, then that will be much quicker. So I am talking about the participation that I've done. As I said, it started off by role-playing games. Pretty. I was never a good role player. I never really found I like role-playing was pretty nice. I liked playing role-playing games, but it never basically stuck with me. Saying that, we started off playing, as I said, the Swedish version of Dungeons and Dragons, and also a game by Game Designers Workshop called Twilight 2000, which is I really liked playing that game. So much so that when I saw that there is a Kickstarter for it, for the newest edition of the game, I bought that. So I don't know when the delivery is, but and I don't really know if I intend to play it either. But just for nostalgia's sake, I wanted to buy the newest version. Sorry. Beer attack. I have this weird allergy that I've got the last couple of years. I say weird, it's just some kind of grass or maybe birch or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I bought the latest version of Twilight 2000. But I never played Twilight 2000 on the gaming convention. From what I can remember, at least. The interesting part about that game now it's that it's the traditional setting for Twilight 2000 is Poland, basically. But now there is the latest version is done by a Swedish company. So the setting for the new one is well, you can basically be wherever you want in that game, but the one of the settings in the rulebook is Sweden, and since I live here, that will be interesting. But I don't think I will get the chance to play it really. Because I don't have a regular group of people to play role-playing games with. And then of course, after a couple of years, I started playing collectible card games. I played quite a lot of Magic the Gathering. Was not very successful because, as in most cases, I always tried to play very highly complicated decks that were not that refined. So I basically never won anything at all. But saying that, I did play the first era Call of Cthulhu trading card game called Mythos, which basically was a storytelling game disguised as a collectible card game. And that playstyle suited me much better. So I won the Swedish championship in that one year, which basically is, I think, the only trophy that I've got. I rarely do the play to win. I rather just do the enjoy playing. Which is why currently I play more of the what do you call them? Beer and pretzel type games, where you can't really compete and there's no big like tournament scene. So, for instance, my favorite game, Battle Group, you can't really play tournaments in that. Well, you probably can, but it's not made for playing tournaments. It's made for more historically based battles. The So skipping ahead, I did play a couple of tournaments in Warhammer Fantasy Battle back when the only army list was what was that called? Was it called Ravening Hordes? It was just like a booklet thingy that was an army list. And I don't even know what edition of fantasy that was. It was an early one. I usually competed down at the bottom of the pile in the tournament. I remember going to a tournament in, where was that? It was in must have been in Jönköping, which is it's doesn't really tell you much. It's a bit south of where I live in Sweden. It's in the Bible Belt of Sweden. We have a Bible Belt, and it's in there. I remember going there with a massive undead army. Like, it was basically just skeleton infantry and not much else. A couple of catapults and and back then, when your general died, the army started to crumble away, and then you needed like backup characters. But so when the general died, we've done all the armatures, by the way. So now we're going to break out the green stuff. I didn't have any of these backup characters for my army. So one battle that I fought was basically 45 minutes from setup to where my whole army had died, and that was including setting up 250 skeletons on the gaming table. I found that pretty funny. That I could play such a short game. My opponent got really mad because he had spent a lot of time and money trying to make a proper army that could win, but he still was at the bottom table with me, so I don't know. I just found it funny that you could play a 45-minute game including setup. Okay, so talking about sculpting for a bit. As you may have noticed, I'm jumping around a lot today. My plan is to do all these 13 arms in one stream. We will do the basic layout of the arms at least. So the plan for I should get a shield. Wait. So I can explain this properly. So what we're going to do, the plan is to since most of the arm is going to be covered by a shield anyway, we are doing a basic layout of the arm on this one. We are not going to do the hand, and when the arms have dried, and at least for a bit, we glue the arm onto the mini, and then we glue the shield onto the arm, and then using the shield as a backing, we do a bit of hand sculpting, because if you look at the minis that we have, we can remove the Space Marine because we're not doing Space Marines. So these are the original minis, and as you can see, the arm is quite exposed, so we will be able to. We're basically making copies of that arm. So we will be able to go in and sculpt something that will look like a hand. Hands in this way is not particularly hard to sculpt, because you only need a blob of green stuff, and then we do 3 divots, like between the fingers, and we do a divot for the palm of the hand, and that is basically it, because we could try to do the thumb, but I don't know if we're going to do that. We might do that. But the thing that I'm aiming for is more or less just something that roughly resembles a hand. So we're not going to do anything that is overly detailed. since most of it will be covered by the shield anyway, we don't really need to spend too much time on it. So now when we have this, we just start bulking it out first, and we don't have to spend also a lot of time on making like the arm look nice, because it will be covered by the shield. So the good thing about this is that we just need the general shape of an arm and then a general shape of the hand. Nothing fancy. Damn it, I found one more. I have to do one more armature. 10, yeah, it should be 14. I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I try at least. So, going back through the armies that I've had. So I started off playing Games Workshop games. I had the army that I've played the most is I don't know what it's called now. I haven't played Games Workshop games in many years. But I have a large Beastman army. Which I really enjoyed playing. I have also played wouldn't say a lot of Dark Elves, but I never owned a Dark Elf army. Never really owned many fantasy armies in that way. I mainly borrowed when I played tournaments. So I played Beastman, Dark Elves, Empire. Yeah, I think those are the ones. But the main army that I had was the Beastman, because I've always liked those minis. I do actually. I've had 2 Beastman armies even. I sold the first one and made another one. But then I transferred into 40k, and in 40k I've had, my god, many armies. 2 different Space Marine armies. Chaos Space Marines. Eldar, Dark Eldar. Imperial Guard. Oh, I painted a Lizardman army that I never played. I started the Tau Army, but I never played that. Yeah, so the main gaming was with Space Marines. I played Space Marines a lot. I had a Ultramarine and Black, I think it was, with loads and loads of just heavy bolters and stuff. I just stood at the back shooting. So basically the Tau playstyle before there was anything that was called Tau. So I played that for a long time. But since I've never been any good at playing in tournaments, I soon realized that I never really enjoyed playing the game in that way. But I didn't mind organizing the tournaments. So then we started organizing tournaments, and we spent the better part of it was basically me and my friend Simon, and with the help of many more down at the gaming club, we spent the better part of it 1.5 years making tournament terrain for different games. So I've done, together with Simon, I think we did 100-ish gaming tables worth of terrain, and I also had terrain for 25 tables basically, just at my apartment. So we have equal parts of yellow and blue, as always, and we grab the sculpting Vaseline. And we start mixing these two together. I think we will do basically one arm, or maybe we will use up this green stuff that I have, this little ball of green stuff, and then I'm going to take a quick break. So for this we do a sausage of green stuff, and we just put that around the armature. We might do this in in 2 steps just to get the overall dimension right. Because that is of course what we need to concentrate on. More than anything else. So now we just roughly shape the green stuff into something that we could be satisfied with. And then we put it aside and let it dry for a bit. The plan is not to make it too big though. Because we don't want to start removing green stuff. We want to do it, if anything, we want to add green stuff, not remove later on. So preferably several thin layers than one massive layer. We could even after we've done this rough shape, so now we have basically, I don't know if you can see that, maybe a bit further away so it will focus. No, we do it on this. So we have that now, and if we let this dry completely, and then we could stick it on the Mini and do the rest of it on the Mini. So to come on. Why do I always tighten this so hard? I don't understand. There we go. And here's the reason why we do a this extra long part of the arm, because we can just stick it down into some cork and let it dry that way, and continue on to the next one. You could, if you want to, just sculpt it, just put them directly into the cork. But I find using the pin vise and so you can rotate the arm much easier than just putting the arm onto some cork. Now it's just rinse and repeat. 14 times. You could, of course, spend your time doing one arm and then making a quick mold out of that arm. But for me, I mainly do this whole project just to get more comfortable with sculpting. And that's why we, or I should say, I do these quite repetitive tasks all the time. Sorry. We've been going for an hour. And we just started sculpting. I don't know if that is a good sign or a bad sign. I will try not to think about that and just move on. What am I doing? And yes, as soon as I started sculpting, I got very quiet because it takes a bit of concentration. It really does. So continuing the rambly talk about gaming conventions. I don't even know where I was. So yes, I was talking tournament terrain. Yeah, so mainly me and Simon, but also other people at our gaming club. I talked about our gaming club yesterday on the stream. We were doing loads and loads and loads of terrain. Like massive amounts of terrain. And then we started arranging our own 40k tournaments. So it was mainly 3 of us. It was me and my friend Franz and my friend Sven, who with, of course, as always, with the help of loads of other people, we did we had tournaments for like 4 or 5 years maybe. We actually have 2 local gaming conventions. We have the main one, which is dedicated to basically all types of gaming. So we have that this time of year every year, and then we have in January every year we have a miniature wargaming tournament or gaming convention, which is much smaller. It's like 150 people maybe. So we did tournaments on those 2, and we did I think we did a Swedish championship once or twice maybe. This was a couple of years ago, and my memory isn't what it used to be, so but after doing all of that and being on the basically it's a tournament circuit in Sweden. So it's I guess that is the same everywhere. It's the same people at each tournament, and basically the same people that win every time. And then you have people like me who can't really decide if we want to play the game extra competitively or just want to show up, roll some dice, have a laugh, and go home. So every year we have there is this basically European Team Championship in 40k, and some of the people at our gaming club used to be in the Swedish national team for like 40k, and I think even Fantasy Battle or Age of Sigmar, and for War Machine and Hordes. So it wasn't a lack of competent people to play against. I just never I shouldn't say never, but I didn't really because there is quite a difference between playing in a tournament and just rolling some dice and having a laugh. It's not that I don't think I've ever personally seen any cheating or anything in a tournament. That said, I've seen interpretation of rules in being done weirdly, but I prefer to think of those as people not really knowing what they're doing instead of them trying to cheat. Sorry. So 2 arms left, then we are going to have a quick break. Since the plan is to sit here for a while today. I just need to stand up and walk around a bit, just so that I get the blood pumping around a bit. Because I can start feeling it in my legs that I've been sitting for a while. So I don't know what we're going to do while we wait for these ones to dry for a bit. I have to think about that because we will need to have a bit of drying time. So this is the last of the first batch of arms. So yeah, just oops, uh, roughly shaped, and then we go in with doing some detail work later. Oops. So we're doing a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, I think we're back. I managed to make some breakfast. Also, haven't had breakfast yet. Okay, more arms. So when you do your sculpting, if you're doing like details, like I'm doing, corks are very nice to have, just hanging around, so you can build stuff like this. Just so things can dry properly. So we have 7 left to do. So where I live, in the southern part of Sweden, my town, we have 2 gaming conventions. We also have the I don't know if it's Europe's largest cosplay convention, or if it's. Sometimes they say it's Northern Europe's biggest something. I don't know if this convention is Northern Europe's biggest or Europe's biggest. I have never been there. I have no real interest in cosplay at all. I spend enough time as it is doing hobby stuff, so I can't really fit one more hobby in. And I basically have to quit my job, I guess. And unfortunately, I'm not at that point right now that I can quit my job. And that cosplay convention is like, I think they even have 2 every year. Do they have 2 every year? I think so. But then you see all these weird and wonderful characters all over town. They also have like basically a parade, which I've never seen either. As I said, no interest. But people seem to like it, and it's gaming related. So this town is pretty good for gaming, I would say. It has a long tradition of board gaming and miniature wargaming. Which is nice for people like me. We also don't want to rush making the arms, so I think we will do these ones, put them aside, and then maybe do a bit of painting, maybe. I haven't painted anything in like 1.5 weeks, maybe even 2 weeks. So I've mainly been working with green stuff and trying to use Super Sculpey, which is a oven baked modeling clay. But you can't really use that for, well, you could use it for this bulking part, but you can't really put it on a model and then bake the model. So I try to concentrate on working with the green stuff. And even though I don't know which one of them is the cheapest one. I also have Fimo, which is a oven bake, also a oven bake sculpting material. I think this is pretty cheap. At least some, they have different like what do you call that? So this is the soft version. I also have the professional version, and I think that is a bit harder maybe, but the good thing is that you can, I've never opened that packet of Fimo, so I shouldn't really say anything about the hardness of it, but you can blend them together, which so you can basically make the material work for you and not against you. So the consistency, yes, consistency. The consistency of green stuff is basically, you can vary the ratio between the yellow and the blue part, but just to change the how the green stuff feels to work with. I never do that. I think the middle of the road yellow and blue 50-50 mix is, that works for me, but you could play around with it if you wanted to. I've never really felt the need. And the good thing about green stuff is that it's air dry and not oven bake like the other ones that I showed. They have two different types of application basically. And now we have two to go. Sorry. Ugh. And if anyone wants to type up in the chat and say hi, they are more than welcome to. Just me waffling on might not be most interesting part of your day. It's quite interesting for me. So. So, that was all the arms bulked out. It takes a while to do this project. But I haven't lost any motivation yet. I think it will look excellent when we're done. We're just far away from it being done. But I do find that the streaming helps me to be quite focused, which is nice. Wonder how I'm going to change camera angles for a bit and try out something. Let's see. Whoops. So if we do like that, maybe, no. Do like that. So now you see my window. Maybe not the most interesting part. That doesn't really work right. Maybe if I do something like that, maybe that might work. But why is it so unstable? Okay, we can try that out. Can we try that out? In a perfect world, I would want the camera basically here. But then I can't, whoops. Yeah, then I can't see anything. Which is bad. So I think we have to try and do, unfortunately, something like that. And then we still have the close-up camera where I haven't shown anything for a while. I think we try that out. And see how that feels. Might be a bit of a weird angle. But currently, not much I can do about it. Because I would like to, usually I paint like at my, I hold the mini basically up against my chest. Not that close maybe, but down here will be weird for my back, I think. Oh well. Let's try this out. See how it goes. So we are going to paint some of my city guard for my just generic fantasy games. So we'll try that out. I'm just gonna go and grab a new pot of water and be right back. Maybe if I do like that and stop it. That might work. Whoops. Better. I don't know. The tripod doesn't really want to work with me. Like that, maybe. Let's see. Yes, that might actually work. Okay, painting time. So what we are going to paint is these guys. I will try to remember to do a couple of close-ups where my Space Marine sits right now. Okay, so yeah, let's start. What do we need? We need since these are going to be basically city guard, we need a generic color on the cloth, because they have this armor thingy on them, which looks basically some kind of leathery thing. I painted it in a leathery. So I might go for... Should we go for green? Like a bright green. And then yellow trim. And all the straps and boots and stuff in a quite darkish brown, maybe, or even black. Okay, we start off by finding a green color. And the paint we are going to use is, what should we go for? Some quite slimy green, maybe. With a wash over that. Or should we go with dark green? Like that. But the mini is already dark. So we can go with P3 Worm Green with a green wash over it, dark green wash, and then we highlight again with the Worm Green. That sounds like a plan. Okay. And I do paint quite old school, so there's no like wet palettes or anything. It's more or less none of the new fancy stuff. I have bought a couple of contrast paints. I haven't tried them out. Maybe I should. Because if I like them, I could go for a bike ride later and buy some more. I've only bought 2. I bought the Basilicanum Grey. What's that? That is quite dark. I don't want more dark colors on this. And I also bought the white one. So maybe should we do white and do a bit of contrast painting? Maybe. So this is basically light gray. There should be a mixing ball in this, or is it in this one? It's in that one. I usually put mixing balls in my paints. So I bought a load of mixing balls. These are from Army Painter. I don't know if they help. Really, whoops. But it feels better. Just to have the sound of something moving about. This might be horrible for the stream though, to listen to that. I don't know. But no one seems to protest, so let's try out the contrast paint. And see if they are everything that people say that they are, because they are quite highly rated. So now I need to stay in shot also. Okay. So I bought these mainly for my 5 Leagues from the Borderlands campaign. So I'm basically, I have put that campaign on hold for a bit just to get these done, because I found when I did the first video, all of the minis I used, even though they were from different companies, and they looked quite samey. You couldn't really see a difference between the minis that I had in my warband and the one that I was fighting. And that kind of defeated the purpose, I guess. So I wanted some minis that stood out a bit more. So that I had some proper enemies to fight. I think these are, I don't know how many I have done 6. No. I have started painting 6 as my city guard, but I do think that they will also work as maybe brigands, or some more or less organized enemy. since they all have the same uniform. So I might paint these in white, or it will be light gray. Due to the contrast paint, but I will probably do a highlight over the light gray. As I said, I've never really used any contrast paints, so it will be. I have done one test. I bought some kind of orangey contrast paint, and yeah, no, wasn't satisfied at all. But it's like all other paints, you have to learn how to use them. I guess, and since that was my first try, even though I've painted for like, my gosh, 30 years, yeah, roughly, at least, it doesn't really come naturally when you just pick up a new paint and think you can start painting with that directly. Without you learning how the paint works. I do have the close-up. Why am I not using the close-up? Okay, let's move him. So this is him with just the first layer of white. No, I don't need to do that. Let's try it out on 3. I just noticed that I need to, maybe I should do a bit more like that, maybe, because I tend to hold the mini quite close to me, so yeah, let's try that. That should work much better, I guess. Yes, it should. Now we can actually see what I'm doing also. Which is one of the main points of doing these streams is for people to see what I'm doing, and trying to get people a bit more into the hobby. And the brush I'm using is a Army Painter Regiment brush. So it's a quite large one. My philosophy generally is paint with the largest brush that you can use for the task at hand. Because painting like tanks for 28mm wargaming with a detail brush or a fine detail, it's gonna take you a while, and it's probably not gonna look very good either. So and always thin your paints. It's better to do several thin layers than one really thick layer. So now we've been going at it for 2 hours. Nice. So I guess we will do contrast paint on these three, and take a quick break just to stretch for a bit, and then continue with the other 6 minis. No, 3 minis. Okay. So contrast paint, try number 1. See if we can do it like this, maybe. Okay, we leave it at that, and then we'll be back in 5 and see how that worked. Okay, so back then. And let's see how the contrast paint worked out. It's maybe I need to do like a thinner layer or something. I'm like 75% satisfied maybe. But let's try and do a bit of highlighting on it. And let's see where that takes us. Okay, so the first verdict it's I don't get the feeling that it's this how shall I explain this? A fire and forget type paint that some people make it out to be. But that might also come down to painting style, because I prefer the minis I paint to be quite, as I said, I started painting in the early days of Games Workshop minis, where everything you saw in like White Dwarf was black lining and almost no highlights. So I do prefer the cleaner look of on minis. But with that said, I think this came out pretty good. So if with just the contrast paint, I would say, yeah, what did I say, 75? And would guess I'm up to like 90-ish now, maybe. So I have some more experimenting to do, definitely. Doing maybe several thin layers, or maybe even doing one massively thick layer. Because it felt more like when you have a very, very, very watered down paint instead of having a dedicated contrast paint. But I was satisfied enough to want to paint the other ones in white also. That does mean that we need to do some white on the shield, though. I haven't really decided on a design on the shields. Since I'm only doing 6, I might try to freehand something. We'll see when we get to that part. But the most important question, I guess, is would I use contrast paint on some of my minis or all of my minis? And I think I'm going to say as of right now, some of the minis. But you never know. It's also hard to I don't know if it really is hard, but it's quite time consuming to change painting style. Because you need to sit down and think a lot more about what you're supposed to do. When you already have a set way of doing it, then it's just rinse and repeat with each paint. So same steps over and over again.